Alrighty, Sean, Tony, thank you guys for coming in today on time. Does anybody want to tell me what brings you guys into therapy? You.
I'm really concerned about Tony's drinking problem that started about 4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago? Okay. And what makes you say it's a drinking problem?
She's been drinking every day for the past 4 weeks. Very angry and very concerned.
You're very angry and concerned?
Yes.
Okay. Tony, do you agree with your husband that it's a drinking problem?
I wouldn't say it's a problem. I don't drink every day. I drink probably 4 times a week, and probably like 3 times a day. So I don't say it's a problem because I don't need to drink.
You don't need to drink?
No, I just don't know why, but lately I've been feeling just to like help myself out throughout the day.
Okay. And when you're drinking, how are you feeling? Like, what's going on? Like, what's making you drink?
Well, recently I've been laid off. Well, not laid off, but let go from my job. And I've had it for about 10 years, and I was really looking forward to, finishing my career there. It's been 10 years. And I just showed up one day and it was closed, and I was never informed, so I just feel kind of like lost because that was my, plan. And just feel like I need to take the edge off from that.
Wow. So after 10 years, you were let go of a job, and you didn't get any warning or nothing at all?
No, I was very shocked whenever it happened.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I can't imagine the devastation you must have endured.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, and that since then it's just been hard to, just go on through the day, not thinking about. So I'm thinking about my future, but at the same time, it's just like it just seen it all disappear,
Okay. By chance, do you think you're depressed or anything? Do you feel anything?
I wouldn't say I'm depressed. I just feel like I need to get over this, stage of this. And then once I do, maybe I'll be ready to, do something.
So going back to the time period that you were let go, you said it was 4 weeks ago?
Yes.
And when did the drinking start?
About 4 weeks ago.
Okay, so basically right after you let go. Okay. And Sean, have you and Tony talked about this? Have you guys communicated?
Yes. I've gotten her some job interviews. Gotten her 4 job interviews to start off with working, just to take that edge off, not to be worried about finding a job, which she has recently missed. Also disappointed.
So you set up 4 job interviews for Tony after she got let go of?
Yes.
And you're feeling frustrated because, why again?
Because she missed all 4 job interviews.
All 4?
All 4, due to drinking.
So what you're saying is Tony didn't go to these 4 job interviews that you set up for her because she was drinking?
I believe she was
That's not
drinking.
Necessarily true, though. I wasn't drinking, it just seems like that because, obviously I've been drinking lately, so he sees it as a problem. But it was just very hard for me to try. I don't see myself, I never have seen myself anywhere else. It's been 10 years, so I was set on doing that. So to just move on so quickly was rough. And it would just make me very sad, and I did want to go, I do want to move on from this, but it was just hard for me. And it was just hard for me to also express that it was hard to go to them because, I do want to continue to work on our future, and, that is a very good, he is trying to just help me. But I just wasn't ready, I guess. And so he just thought that I just didn't want to do it because I've had a drinking problem, but it wasn't really that.
So you found yourself not being able to show up for these job interviews? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Because you found it hard since you didn't really process getting let go of? Sean, how soon did you set up these job interviews for Tony? After she got fired?
Approximately a week after. The first week after. Getting let go, then she had her first job interview.
So about roughly 7 days?
Roughly 7 days, and then the next one about 2 days later. next one, and then the next one.
Wow, so 4 job interviews back to back. That sounds pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, it really is. And I didn't get the opportunity to really look into what they were, so it was just really hard for me. But I was very thankful for it, but it was just hard to even think about like going to these things.
So going back, Sean, you assumed that Tony didn't go to these job interviews because she was drinking, correct?
Yes.
But she just said that she couldn't go because she hadn't had the time to process losing her job yet.
That was never expressed.
It's just hard to talk with though too, because anytime I feel like we're having a conversation, it leads to just bickering and and just I don't want that for us to happen like all the time. So I do catch myself drinking after we have like just a little argument.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just so I can relax after that.
So you catch yourself drinking after you guys are fighting. After you guys are done fighting.
Yeah, most of the time.
So let's see. How often do you guys think you're fighting? Like in a day? Like, if you guys give like an estimate.
I would say it leads up to the 3 times I drink, because usually we have a little bickering in the morning. It's just the morning, and we're just talking about what we're gonna do for our days. And then he comes home for lunch. Lately, he's been coming home for lunch, so I also have a drink, and then that leads to some more arguing as well. And so then when he gets home, it's just like continuous from like what would happen at lunch, and so then I would catch myself drinking right before bed just so I can sleep, relax, be relaxed and everything.
So what is it exactly you guys are bickering about? Because you guys said you fight in the morning, fight before Sean goes to work, I'm assuming, and then during his lunch break, and after Sean gets off of work. What do you guys find yourself bickering about?
I fight with her in the morning about not drinking all day and getting up, going to look for work, and getting out there. I come home during lunch and she's drinking. I get home and she's still there drinking. So it's just the main issue is just drinking. I just want it to stop. Want her to get herself going, get working again.
And then just me trying to help him understand that it's like not that easy to just get up and do it, and then just continuous off of that. And Sean's been working long hours, so it just seems. It makes me feel bad that, feels like he's trying to catch up for what I'm not doing. So maybe he's tired. But I do appreciate that, it's not, going unseen or anything.
So I do see that you guys are aware that, Sean, you're aware that Tony is feeling upset, and Tony, you're aware that Sean is feeling upset, right? You guys can both see that in each other? John?
I can kind of see it.
Why kind of? Why isn't it a yes?
I mean, I'm just more about just stop drinking. Let's just move on with life. Let's just move on, get a job, and just get up and go.
What I'm sensing here is that there's been a lot of miscommunication going on. Sean, how often do you think Tony is drinking? Give a number, in your opinion.
Well, probably from when I leave from work all through the day till I get home until she goes to sleep as well.
But you heard your wife say multiple of times that she estimates she drinks 3 times a day.
I don't believe it.
Why don't you believe that?
Just because she's already drunk last year, by the time I get home from work, after work, we're just always bickering. I just don't believe it.
How can you tell that she's passive? What does passive look like? How does she seem?
Slurred words, emotional, venting.
Yeah, one thing that he's pointed out is on my I would be right when he'd get home, and it's just I've cry throughout the day about, you know, how my day's going, and I mean, it just happens to seem like I'm, you know, drunk all the time, but it's not. It's just, you know, I've been very emotional, and I've been trying to deal with my emotions, but it's hard whenever I feel like, you know, my emotions aren't being validated, you know, so it makes me feel like I'm just being like, you know, crybaby, so that doesn't, just leads me to cry again, and I just find myself, you know, being super emotional throughout the day, and it just happens to look like I'm being drunk throughout the day.
Sean, is this the first time you've heard your wife say this?
Yes.
And why do you think that?
I have no idea. We did not talk about this.
But she just said that she feels like she can't express herself to you.
Why?
Because then it just leads to arguing, and I just don't want to do the arguing, because then that leads me to just feel even, you know, more sad, and just piles up on the stress that I've had for the last few weeks.
Well, I'm listening now.
There's a difference between listening and then taking acknowledgement of what Tony is feeling. And from what it sounds like, I think Tony's feelings aren't being made aware of. Am I right, Tony?
That's how I feel, yes.
Okay. And Sean, it seems like right now in the session that you're discovering new things about Tony that you haven't heard of until now.
Yes.
Okay. So I do see that you do care about Tony, because I'm assuming that you're the one that pushed her to come to therapy today.
Yes.
Okay.
I want this drinking to stop. I would like it to stop. I'd like to get back to normal.
Okay, guys, do me a favor. I noticed that you guys have been separate, far apart right now, and what it sounds like to me is Tony needs to feel you're supporting her, that you're there for her. It seems like there's been some distance going on. So, Sean, can you do me a favor and scoot closer to Tony?
You want me to sit closer to you?
Yeah.
You don't have to be scared, it's okay. You can get closer. There you go. Now, how does that feel?
Normal. Normality.
Normality? This is the first time it's been feeling normal?
Yes.
Yeah? Can you guys hold each other's hand so you guys can know that you guys are in this together? So I do see that you guys do care about each other. I know you guys are concerned about the drinking, but I just feel like there's not been a lot of expressing feelings or whatnot to each other.
Yeah, we definitely need to work on that more, and that's why we're both here. We both want to solve this problem, because if it's an ongoing issue, then it's just going to be ongoing bickering, and, you know, we don't need that every single day.
So tell me, how does it look like, because you guys have tried talking about this issue, right? Tony, you have tried to, okay. So you guys, can you show me an example of how does that look like with Sean? How is it?
So it kind of goes a little bit like, so in the mornings, it's kind of just like, oh, okay, like, you know, wake up, ask him what his plans are, since he has his own restaurant, you know, he likes to do different things at the place, so ask him what his plans are for the day, and see what he's gonna do, and then when the question comes back to me, I, you know, say, oh, you know, do some things around the house, you know, try to keep myself vain, and that's when he starts going into, like, oh, like, maybe you should start looking for a job, like, or what about those interviews from last week, like, have you thought about, you know, and then I tell him yes, and he's like, well, you know, it's just like that kind of thing, and then, you know, then when he comes from lunch, it's just like, he sees me drinking, so he goes on about that, and how that's a problem now, and maybe that's why, you know, I don't want to do things because I'm just drinking. And then when we get home, it's just kind of the same thing, you know, since we're settling down, I ask him how his day was, he asks me how mine, and then it just goes on like that.
Okay. And Sean, what does it look like for you with the bickering? How does it look like?
Basically what she said. I just asked her, just let her know, like, you know, what are your plans today, what are you about to do, get up? Are you gonna get moving? And it's mostly just cleaning around the house and staying home. I would like her to get moving, get out there. So yeah, I admit I am always arguing with her about it. My frustration leads up to bickering.
So let me ask you this, Sean. After now hearing Tony express herself about how she's been feeling about losing the job and whatnot, do you still think that she's drinking? Sorry, I said that wrong. Do you still, after hearing Tony express herself how she's feeling about the job, do you still believe that she's drinking as much as you're assuming she is?
No. No. I've tried to move.
Okay. What made you change your mind?
Just hearing her out, hearing her feelings. I guess I can have some more trust in that.
Okay. So Tanya, going back to you drinking, you said that you drink 4 times out of the week, right?
Yes.
So can I ask what stops it from being every day?
I just don't like to feel that way every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I have better days than others, and Sean usually has 3 days off, so I try to spend time with him. And when I'm by myself, it leads me to thinking more than whenever I'm occupied doing other things. So it just happens to be the days between at work where I get to be with myself and really just feel the way I feel, think all day, and probably just even overthink.
Okay. So not an everyday thing, that's good. Okay. As I'm thinking about the drinking, so anyways, so obviously the drinking is a concern in both of you guys.
Yes.
So overall, I want to ask you guys, what is the goal of therapy for you two? Tony, you go first.
The goal is just for us to have a better way of communicating, so maybe it doesn't lead to bickering all the time. I mean, I know we're gonna bicker here and there, but not consistently. And just overall, maybe lessen the times I drink. I know it's not a problem, but if that happens, if one of us has a problem, maybe the other should, take into consideration and find some middle ground. So hopefully, coming to therapy, we can find what our middle ground is.
Okay. Thank you. And Sean, what is the goal for you in therapy? What is it that you're wanting to achieve?
To definitely become more of a listener and not try to push her away from telling me her feelings. And I would like her drinking to calm down and go back to a normal level where we would drink when we go out, not every day at home.
So communication seems to be a priority. What does listening to each other look like to you guys? Tony, you go first.
Like, what do I want it to be, or what does it look like now?
Or when you said you want to be listened to and heard to and be able to express yourself to Sean, how does that look like for you? What does that look like?
I kind of want it to be more of instead of, it's not blaming me, but instead of, kind of just making it where it's I can control it, just kind of understand that, it's life, and sometimes it's harder for others just to, be able to get up and just go. And I feel like I just want him to, just listen and understand that instead of just making it be well, we need to let go of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what I want, what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, because by saying letting go of something, we need to process something first, because kind of just pushing it off to the side is still there, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
it doesn't help the problem, it just buries it, and I don't want that.
Sean, do you understand what Tony is meaning by that, about listening?
Yes.
Okay.
To not have a short temper.
short temper, and what else? She said more than that.
To
Okay.
be a good listener.
Okay, so we're gonna practice this right now, actually. So, Tony, I want you to express to Sean something about how losing your job makes you feel. And Sean, I want you to listen to Tony without interrupting and try to respond something back to her. But while we do this, I want you two to be looking at each other because you guys haven't really been looking at each other. So can we do that?
Okay.
Okay, so we're practicing right now. So look at each other. I know it's gonna feel a little weird. It's a Peter giggle. But Tony, like I said, tell Sean something about how you're feeling.
So I'm still trying to get over the fact that the career that I had is no longer part of our future. You know, I was making good money there, and we were comfortable. And it's hard for me to think about how I'm not only letting myself down, but letting down, each other. And I don't want it to be like that, but that's just the way I feel. I feel like I'm letting us down.
Good. Sean, you can go ahead and respond. And also, by all means, you could also tell Tony how you feel too. Because we're both working on communication with both of each other.
Well, I'm sorry, I just feel that way. Well, I guess I just have to work on myself for us, so that I don't become so temperamental and actually understanding you, what your feelings are, without pushing them over to the side.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
I felt good. I feel like I haven't really told him that I felt that way, so it feels good to have him understand that it's not just like a one-sided thing, I also feel that way too.
I feel so selfish.
It's not really selfish, I have to also understand that, we're both part of this. I know it affects both of our lives. And people are stressed for, themselves too, so maybe it's just added stress on him. And I just didn't also pay attention to that, and maybe I didn't take that into consideration too.
Sean, it's okay. I can see where you're approaching this from because I see that, you obviously care about Tony, that you were probably just as affected as she was, and she just acknowledged that within you, And I can see how driven you were to creating a solution for Tony by getting her the 4 job interviews set up for her like that.
I'm very thankful for
Yeah, that's very awesome for you to do. And that tells me that you care about her. But sometimes we just need to process things a little bit more. So I'm not saying that you did it the wrong way, but just trying to take the time to listen to Tony, allow her to say what she's feeling, that's sometimes really all she needs. I'm pretty sure with you, after you have a long day at your restaurant, you have stressful days too. Do you ever feel like better when you go to bed, Tony, how you're feeling?
Yeah, she definitely listens to me.
So I think we could help each other practice those important communication skills. So with that, we're starting to near our session, but before I let you guys go, to cover on the drinking, Tony, I know this will sound really funny to you guys, but I know you guys are saying that drinking is a concern for both of you guys, which is good. So, for us to be able to tell if it's just like a habit, because you're not drinking every day, but you are always a concern. So, to tell if it's just a habit or if it is an actual addiction, from now until next week, until we meet each other again, this is what I want you to do. Every hour of the day, I want you to drink.
And what if I don't want to drink or don't feel the need to drink every hour?
Well, here's the kicker, because I want you to drink every hour, but at the 45-minute mark, 15 minutes before it's about to be an hour, I want you to ask yourself, how is it that you're feeling? Why is it that you feel the need to drink? And do you actually need to drink? And then, to help you out even better, I want you to rate it on a scale of 1 through 10 on how bad you need to drink. 10 being like, I really, really need a drink right now, like I terribly need it. or one just being like, meh, I don't need to drink at all. But here's what I want you to rate it as. If it lands on anywhere from 5 to 10, I'm going to ask you to drink. If it lands 1 to 4, I'm going to ask you not to drink. I know it sounds kind of weird, but does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see how that can help me kind of figure out also, like, you know, what's making me urge to drink and maybe how I can help myself restrain from that less.
Good. Awesome. I'm happy that makes sense to you. And Sean, too, I know you've had really strong feelings about her drinking, but how do you feel about that?
I feel terrified.
Terrified? Why is that?
Terrified that it's gonna become an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she may be addicted, may become a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's true, then maybe we could catch it early on by, you know, seeing how often I do it and seeing how often the temptation is. So maybe it's worth a try.
But you're the doctor, I trust you.
Well, Sean, it's not about trusting me. Do you trust Tony?
Yes, I do.
Can you look at her and tell her that?
I trust you.
So you're on board and you support this? Because I know it sounds weird. I'm encouraging your wife to drink. But it's just like what she was just saying. It's just to kind of help her be more aware of why she feels the need to drink and if she actually needs to drink at all. So that way, also Tony, before I forget, I want you to keep like a journal, and I want you to log in how many times you're drinking. So that way, when you guys come back to therapy again next week, I want you to bring that journal. So that way, we can look at your notes and see how often you're drinking. So that way, if we see that you're not drinking often, then perfect. We could say that it's probably just a habit, and we could work on that. But if it's an addiction, then we can see about maybe bringing in a psychologist and working on a treatment plan. So, how does that sound for the both of you?
That sounds great. That sounds like it can help us early on, you know, instead of continuously arguing. That's also one of our issues. So that sounds great.
Well, I'm happy that you seem on board on it and you seem confident that it doesn't seem to be an addiction, so I feel like that's a great sign. So, good. So before I have you guys leave, I'm also going to assign homework for the two of you, because Tony, that's your homework. And you guys are going to have homework together, because you guys said if you guys want to work on communication. So, I'm going to write you guys 2 notes. You guys can stick these notes on the fridge or in your guys' bathroom somewhere that you see very often. So, I want you to, from today till next time we meet, I want you guys to every day take 10 minutes, doesn't matter when, it's up to you guys when you guys want to do it. Sorry, it's hard to talk and write this at the same time. So, every minute for 10 minutes a day, I want you guys to spend time fighting, arguing. Just what, yes. I know it sounds funny, right? Making you guys do a bunch of crazy stuff. But I want you guys to just spend 10 minutes arguing. Does that make sense? I'm seeing concerned faces.
I just don't see how spending more time arguing in the day is going to, or even adding on, is going to help us not argue anymore.
Because I feel like that can help you guys get a better control of bickering, so that way when you guys feel that it's beginning, you guys will be able to be in control of getting it to stop, if that makes sense. So that's the only time you guys could argue. So say you guys want to argue like at 6:10 all the way to 6:20. That's the only time you guys can argue. So the whole day you guys cannot argue until that 10-minute mark. It doesn't have to be 6:10, it could be whatever time you want. But here's the thing though, I want you guys to actually time it on your phones, clock, however. Set a timer for 10 minutes, and as soon as the timer goes off, stop.
Same time every day?
Same time every day. Well, like I said, yeah, it could be same time every day, whatever time it works for you guys. Just make sure you guys make time for that.
Okay.
Does that sound? How do you feel about that, Sean? I'm seeing a lot of faces, face expressions.
Okay.
Does that sound good? What are your thoughts?
Just concerned.
Concerned?
Just only fight for 10 minutes that whole entire day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. I guess I can try and have some self-control. with a temper.
Does that sound good to the both of you guys? That like it doesn't. You guys have any questions? Does it make sense to y'all?
Yeah, makes sense.
I can see how they can work.
Do we feel comfortable with the idea? I see you guys are giggling.
I think it could work. I think it might even help us, and maybe even 10 minutes will be too done eventually. You know?
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes seems so little, but it might be a long time in the day.
Perfect. So here's the other homework assignment. So I want you guys again to spend 10 minutes every day. Sorry about that. Like I said, I cannot talk and write at the same time. So this is what this card's going to say. It's going to say 10 minutes every day to taking turns listening to each other as the other person talks. So like Tony, you could take 5 minutes to talk to Sean about whatever it is you feel the need to talk to him about. And Sean, for those 5 minutes, you're going to listen to Tony. Just listen to her, hear her out. And then after her 5 minutes are up, Sean, you're going to switch and you're going to take turn to talk to Tony, say whatever you're feeling, whatever's going on, and she's going to listen to you too.
Okay.
So that way, we're going to try working on communication. That's the homework that you guys have for from now until next time that we meet. And I want you guys to also keep a journal too of what time you guys talked, what time you guys argued, and then just to put like a little side note of how it went, whatever, if it was good or if it was bad, or just little things about the experience about it. That make sense?
Okay, sure.
All right. So, how many minutes a day are we gonna fight?
10.
And what happens when we get to the 10-minute mark?
Stop.
Stop there.
Alrighty. And then what else are we gonna do?
Listen and talk.
For 10 minutes about how we're feeling or whatever we want to express to each other.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to be not maybe drinking every hour, but seeing if I feel the urge to and how bad I need to.
Awesome. Great, guys. That's all we have for today. I appreciate you guys coming in. I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
also
you.